critical
Told Sauce to
moments.
report timer exploits, right? What I said
We must
was,
follow them to this safe haven
what I
of
said was,
Mandars to find
we
out.
have to determine what we're going to do about that, but that it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt to put it on the record. Someone asked me about it yesterday, and I said, exploiting a bug is a very different scenario, and it's not smart. So the Wolf Dark versus Andrew match went over 12 hours. I love to hear it. How are you going to fix jading? Banning healing TCs didn't fix it like expected. Banning healing TCs was not intended to fix it. It was intended to make it tolerable over the break. Didn't do that necessarily. Without the timer exploit, I think it would have been just fine. But this meta is trap stack and jading. A meta is not a fixed thing, by the way. Everybody is jading and trap stacking since the update. Kingler, I think you're a low-level player, aren't you? Just out of curiosity. Oh, Lord, they will never fix jading or ban timer exploit. Get used to it. Oh, that remains to be seen, I think. I will say our solution is probably not PvP only. We have to look back to the roots. We have to look back to the roots of the game. So as we look back at the roots of the game, we notice things like healing per pip is twice the value of damage per pip. Why? Why is healing per pip twice the value of damage per pip? Right? Storm's DPP is 125, and Life's HPP is at least 190, as high as 240 or 250, depending on the spell. So we ask ourselves, what was the intent here? Why is HPP so much higher than PvP? Well, the first thing we would observe is that PvE wasn't designed with PvP in mind. That's the first observation. But why is it so high in PvE is the question. We have to ask what the original design intent was. But then we also look at things like the gear, right? Where did the gear go awry? Is it resist? Is resist the problem? Is it incoming outgoing? Is that the problem? There are various things to look at here. So it's likely to be something that is more systemic to the game than just PvP. At high level, at least, at Warlord, it's like 4 people jading and a few Myth Life Wizards trap stacking. Life trap stacking, that's interesting. I mean, Myth makes sense, but Life is a little bit surprising. And then, of course, there's also a component to fixing jading that is really an individual problem, that is a behavior problem, but that is not technically a design problem. That is a different kind of thing to look at. And exploiting is its own separate issue, right? I would say that there are problems with players expecting fast solutions. The PvP players think that everything has to be a fast solution, and fast solutions are not usually good. Fast solutions are usually they're band-aids, right? We don't like to leave a lot of band-aids in, but PvP players really expect things to happen right away for them, and it doesn't work that way. Even if I had the opportunity to make changes as often as I might prefer, there is a value to watching, observing, collecting data. It's not usually an emergency, y'all. So I know that you think that the game is just PvP, but believe me, believe me when I tell you that it's not. Wiz is way more than PvP. So the last 5 PvP updates need to rework. I don't agree with that at all, but I'm not sure why you would just say that last 5. PvP is itself a process, so you don't pick out individual pieces of the process. When we get to 5th age, you are certainly welcome to say, I do not like the what has been presented to us. But it's odd to criticize a particular thing that happens on the way to that. They happen in the order that try to make as much sense to the order that we roll out changes as it possibly can. But sometimes it's really more of an issue of tech time. So not everything can happen all at once, and things will be messy and broken until they're at the state that we consider them complete. So Sean says, I feel like a lot of players are not willing to adjust a strat or swap the counters they run, which leads to people thinking something's broken. I agree with that entirely. That is 100% correct. Players just don't want to adapt. So how do I feel that significantly more people are doing blade stack or trap stack? I don't care. I really don't care. Trap stack, I get the argument that it's hard to stay ahead of the trap stack because there are cards of efficiency in creating traps. It's hard to counter those, but you do have trap stack counters, you have gambits, you have ways to apply pressure to the person who's doing that, and it's not generally happening. Somebody told me in my DMs recently, if they just happened to try the Fire Scion, just now happened to try it, and they're like, wow, that was really good. Well, no duh, Sherlock. There's a lot of things players just aren't doing. Players are not adapting to the meta. And to be fair, they haven't had a chance to, right? So the meta that we would like players to adapt to and the ways that we would like to see players interact with the meta has been disrupted by first jading and now an exploit that is attached to jading. So, to some degree, trap stack is born of jading, right? It is a universally decent strategy. I don't see very many people throwing around the scions at all. Players are slow to adapt. I strongly think Beguile and Juju need to change. Those two spells are completely useless at the moment. Then nerf other parts of Death's Arsenal to compensate for the buffs. I don't think I agree with most of what you said there. I don't like the way that Beguile works, personally. It feels like a spell that is acting like a bug. How's the designer search going? Find some good ones. I still hope for those who apply. We have more good candidates than we have positions. But we've had a lot of, again, it's all relative, Frank. We are hiring associates, so our entry-level design positions. So our criteria are appropriate to the level of positions being applied for. But even given that, we have what I consider to be some very good candidates. You can pack 6 trap counters, the opponent can pack 10 traps. And more than that, actually. 10 plus traps. Certainly. I think you're going too slow. If all they're doing is stacking traps on you, then you should be able to get your gambit out faster than they can. So when you look at Old Scratch or Blood Flames, I heard that's something you want to look at balance. I don't think that Old Scratch is as bad as people think it is. It's just a very weird complaint, and I have to unpack it as I usually do, because players tell me that Old Scratch is too powerful, and other players tell me that Witch Doctors are too weak. And there are ways that these things can all be true at the same time, and I have to figure out what it is that players are doing. Players also ban the summons. We leaned heavy on summons for the Witch Doctor. So, if you take a major piece of a school's toolkit away from them, i.e. healing for lives or summons for Witch Doctors, and then complain that they're too weak, that's on you. So, Ratbeard, just go watch a trap stack match. You will see that your idea of how the game is going to be played doesn't work. I just finished saying that players are not adapting. So if watching a player who is not playing as intended is not going to help me at all. So, if you want to go that route, I'll just say, hey man, get in and play a match. You need to kill that trap stacker before he throws 10 traps on you. I do want to see one of those life trap stack matches, though. That might be interesting if they're using their heals to stay alive while they stack up. So Les says, I've used 6 trap counters against Myth while playing offensively and still lost. All right, I'll watch. You can't force players to play how you'd like it. You play how we would win. You should hear more to the community. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we create the conditions for certain metas to rise. We provide counters. If you don't play them, I'm not going to force you to play them. Just like we're not forcing you to dual school. But if you don't dual school, you're probably going to lose, and that's on you, not me. We can force you, in certain ways. We can certainly encourage you to do that. If you're not using Master yet, as just one example, then you're probably going to lose. Can we force you to carry infections? No, we can't force you to carry infections. Can we force you to carry heals? No, we can't force you to carry heals. This is kind of off topic, but how come Death doesn't get a Death Fuel pack? Myth has Maple Moose and Fern Loomy. If Death were meant to be a trap stacking school, then we could do that. But since Death does not revolve around creating traps, that's not something I would probably do. Myth wasn't a trapping school, and you made them a trapping school. Yeah, we did. This is correct. Coming up with strategies against the dominant strat is what a meta is, and it's always going to be changing. So until players start to build counters for trap stacking, you should expect more players to be playing trap stacking. Is it Myth supposed to be the minion school? Certainly in PvE they are, but that's somewhat stymied by the fact that the minions just aren't as good as they probably should be. So I would like to change that. It's dangerous to make them too good because they can very quickly become just too powerful. To say that a school is one thing necessarily is not always necessarily the case. Beta Tuber, when are you going to patch up your game? So many bugs. That's a never-ending process. 12 trap counters versus 20, 30 traps. Your math doesn't work. You don't want to understand that. I hear what you're saying, but if you're letting them stack 20 or 30 traps on you, that's a problem. You're looking at an end state. At an end state, you're not cycling. They don't need 20 traps, and you don't need 12 counters. You unban TC heals? Maybe. Just make it so the heals lose you 10, 20 seconds. That was the that remains our ultimate possible solution. I think that having players play at the 5-second rule, 5-second minimum for a while now, will certainly acclimate players towards that if we go that direction. But I don't know that we will go that direction. So I think the trap counters are to slow them down so you can get shads to take them down. But the problem is they can also gain shads. It does not take that many sets of traps to one shot. Does anyone feel that fire is almost unbeatable? So far in this chat just today, I've heard that death is top 2. Fire is unbeatable. Myth and life are unbeatable. V-dashing is still the game dead. I think Inferno Salamander's DPP is severely imbalanced. I understand it's going to be higher since it's a spellman, but having the same DPP when Solar Surge is a shad that costs one bit more feels questionable. It's, the DPP is 100. It's DPP. So Salamander is very, very good, but it's an overtime. So Fire's too OP. They don't even use trap counter. They just kill with Sally and Heffy. That's what I'm speaking about. Trap counters don't counter trap stacking. Right. Well, killing them also. I mean, I did mention that. Killing them is your your best defense is a good offense. So don't let them do that, I guess is what I'm saying. And if you're using the trap counters, you should be accelerating towards a gambit play that does a lot of damage. So you should be able to keep them off balance with that. That is the idea. So winning the game prevents a loss. It's funny how that works. Yes. It's funny how that works. I think the main issue with Fire is their health. Fire can get 10k hit points. Anybody can, guys. 10k is not a magic number. As the level cap goes up, at some point, everybody will be at 10k. Stop fretting. Stop fretting about it. Fire does have a lot of health. Probably too much, but what is the fix the jading timer issue? The jading timer issue, that I put in a ticket for that bug before we left on vacation. Of course, then we all went on vacation. So that particular timer bug should get fixed.